Are you ready to be edutained? Well, you're in the right place. Welcome to Vibrant Living with your host, Dr. Ellison. Let's turn up the dial on your health, relationships, and personal growth right here on WAEC Love 860, Atlanta's inspirational talk radio. And now, without further ado, here's Dr. Ellison.
Well, hello, everybody. I hope that you had a great weekend. This is Dr. Ellison. So glad to be back with you. I hope you've geared up for another edutaining and empowering show. I'm excited to be back with you. Hope you had a great weekend and spent time in church or wherever with your friends, your family, and just simply got some rest. And now you're set and you're ready, wherever you're at, to hear Vibrant Living. I'm extremely excited to have as a guest today a good friend we met some time ago, did another radio show together, and she's back with me again today, and that is none other than Miss Amelia Narian. Narian. I have to work on names, you all. Amelia Narian, she is a nurse practitioner, holistic health provider, and a speaker. Now, that's an exciting part right there, particularly for me to watch her come to the edge of the nest. and literally, I'm like, I was there at the nest when she was there at the edge. I'm like, you got to jump, Amelia. You got to jump now. You got to fly. And I've watched her jump out of that nest and out there into the air, to the space, and she's been flying as a speaker as well. And we got something extremely exciting to talk about today. It is one of the hot topic areas, I believe, of just about any generation, particularly in the last 40, 50, 75 years or more. This critical area dealing with our number one wealth, which is our health.
Yes.
And you got a lot of experience. How many years experience have you had in this particular area as a nurse practitioner?
I've been a nurse practitioner about 25 years.
25 years. Okay, I know you've seen a lot.
Yes, there's a lot out there to be seen. A lot has changed.
Wow.
Health has changed. How we view it. How we as individuals and patients, our knowledge about our own health, our sense of responsibility for our health has changed. The technology with the mass media and the coming around the internet and how we're connected with the world, so much has changed. Just how things move, and our perspective about health has changed.
Would you not say that we spend more time fighting sickness and disease than what we do promoting health?
Absolutely, we spend more money.
More money.
Yes.
Wow.
Than fighting disease than we do promoting health.
So it's really almost like no comparison.
Absolutely none.
If we were to spend, wouldn't you say probably if we were to spend at least, dear God, 1% is stretching it, but even like a 0.5% of what we spend on intervention, on prevention.
Correct.
How much more our lives could be turned around right here in this country and around the world.
Absolutely. Because when we look at the majority of what we consider as chronic diseases, those diseases are preventable. So if we would work on prevention, think what we could stop.
Oh, my God.
What the diseases, you think the long-term things, the hypertension, diabetes, the heart diseases, those type of chronic illnesses, most of them we know are actually preventable.
Wow, yeah.
So if we think how much money is spent annually in complications from diabetes, the complications and
I read something one day where it says we spend more money to deal with diabetes than what we do on education.
I wouldn't be surprised at that because we're saying that almost half of the population, we're looking by 2020, 22, something like that, we're looking at half of the population having diabetes.
Half of the
population they're looking at to have diabetes.
Oh, wow. We got to talk about this. Now, our topic area today is going to be entitled Food, Friend or Foe. Oh, my God. I just love that when you presented that to me. Food, Friend or Foe. And what was the other part of that title again?
Food, the mind-brain connection.
Food, the mind-brain connection. So you all remember that now. Food, Friend or Foe, and food, the brain mind connection. All right. Wow. I want you to tell us, and I know you've seen a lot of stuff in your 20-some years as a nurse practitioner, holistic health provider. Tell me one of the most touching stories, encounters or dealings that you've seen.
I think probably you're really catching me with that one. One of the things that I think has impacted me the most in one of my experiences, I guess early on my traditional environment, because I've done both traditional and now more to the holistic side, was to see a patient who I really care about in traditional who had had a cancer, a throat, and we've done throat surgery. They've done throat surgery, so they couldn't talk.
How old was this person?
This person was probably in their 50s.
50s, okay.
Yes, and it was a female. And just to watch her progress, I was taking care of her, doing the suctioning and all those kind of things for her, and to see her decompensate. And it was the first patient I ever lost in my nursing career. So that experience was really, really trying for me. And then trying to comfort the family, I was ready to take time off work after that.
Wow.
For a day or two, it was really traumatic to lose a patient. I was young. And I was really naive about what medicine was about and what care was about. Really feeling like in my mind and in my heart that I went there and I was going to make a difference, that people were going to get better, and we're all trying to get everyone better. Years later, I learned that's not the case.
Whoa. From the time you started dealing with this individual to the time this individual passed, what kind of time?
Maybe a week.
About a week?
Maybe a week.
Wow, was that
care.
Fast?
Yeah, they were pretty sick. What happened was there was a rupture, a vessel rupture, and they bled out. That was not even related to the cancer. But because of where it was, there had been some erosion.
Yes.
Where the cancer was, it caused erosion in a vessel, near a vessel, and it ruptured. When they went to use the bathroom, they, you strain.
Yes.
And that caused a lot of internal pressure on vessels.
Okay.
And it ruptured.
Oh,
and
my.
The patient was in my care. We had to call a code because they collapsed in the bathroom and had to get them. Literally, there was blood everywhere. So,
there's so many cases of people, suffering with various ordeals. But would you say, Amelia, that a lot of these cases it was unnecessary? If you go back to the origin,
the majority of what we deal with today, yes. That type of case, no, I can't necessarily say that because. Especially then, I didn't really know. And it was a cancer. Don't really know. I do think that particular patient was a smoker, though.
Okay.
So that was preventable.
That's what. Yes,
that was a preventable case.
And the reason I mentioned that because I think that here's a saying that I do in my seminars, that the number one cause of the perpetuation of sickness and disease in our country, and that's just not living a vibrant life. And not just our country, but the world at large, is because we are away from the wisdom of God as to how to take care of ourselves.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying? If we would come back home to his wisdom, and we know the different aspects of things here when we talk about the wisdom of God, that, in other words, good health is not just what I eat.
Correct.
So this is why I make that umbrella statement that we got to go back home to the wisdom of God as humanity on how to take care of ourselves.
Correct. I would agree with that. There's a lot of things that we have gotten away from, and we do it differently. We use the phrase about the old days, and we talk about our grandparents and how they used to tell us how to do things or go out and get this or eat that, and we've gotten away from that. The simplicity of that, eating some of the types of things they told us to eat. This weekend, I was telling you, I was traveling, and I just came back today. One of the things I did yesterday, we walked along the grounds, the family I was visiting, we went to see someone. They had 37 acres. And after we had our lunch, we walked. And we stopped along the way, and we looked at multiple what we consider weeds. That was medicinal medicine after medicine after medicine on the side of the road, in the field, in the yard.
We call those weeds.
We call them weeds. Poke root, the poke plant. The root is a medicine. We saw several. A weed we put poison on, we call plantain. That's a medicine. The dandelion, the red clover, all of those just grow as weeds in the field. Those are all medicines.
All medicine.
The buds on a rose, the flower falls off. The bud, the base of it is a medicine.
So there is a pharmacy in nature.
All around us.
All around us. And we just disconnected.
We don't know what it is.
We don't know what it is. Wow. Because, years ago, and I know you're familiar with this statement, let your food be your medicine.
Yes, and your medicine.
And your medicine be your food. Now, people, we're talking about how to live a vibrant life, and we're talking, of course, from the physical plane of how we treat the physical body. And we know that true, vibrant living is not just physical. It is emotional, intellectual, psychological, spiritual, relational as well.
Correct.
Today we're honing in on that food component. And I want to segue over into that. So we just made the statement, let your food be your medicine, because now our topic area today, and I'm excited. I like that topic that you brought out there. Food, friend, or foe? Is your food your friend, or is it your foe? Now, this is why, Amelia, I talk to my food. You may have heard me say it. Yeah, I'll talk to it. I'll ask it. I'll look at that item in my hand. I'll hold it in my hand and say, talk to me. Tell me, what are you going to do if I let you in my body?
Interesting. And what does it say?
Hey, what does it say? Hey, that's a different story right there now. We have a conversation for a while. But my point in saying something like that is you've got to consider what you are letting in. Mm-hmm. Most people don't think about what they're eating. Years ago, we would tap our children on the hand if they picked something off the floor, particularly when we couldn't identify what you put in your mouth. You put that down. I think we may have to tap us as older folk, grown-ups on the hand, like, well, you need to consider, what are you letting in? Because the question is, you all, is your food your friend or your foe?
Now, when you bring that up, when I came up with that concept of the ideal, actually the Spirit gave it to me. The Lord gave me that concept. Okay. I looked some things up. But when I asked that question, is your food friend or foe? Is food innately good or bad for us? Mm-hmm. Okay. So when we look back in the beginning, we all culturally, everybody eats food, and every culture has rituals, views about food. Why? Where did the concept, we know we eat it to live, but where did the concept and why is the value or the importance of food so heavy culturally across the world? And so I wanted to go back to figure out why.
Okay, all right.
Genesis 1:29 says, and God said, behold, I have given you every herb-bearing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree, in the which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed, to you it shall be for meat. Now, when we talk about the seed and the fruit having the seed, any food that has a seed in it, primarily, that was to be our original diet. So we talk about
any food that has a seed
in it.
Do we have foods nowadays that don't have seed?
Yeah, we've made some that did in the beginning, but don't.
Come on. Now, I want you to note something, you all, that she just mentioned. First of all, she said God, our creator.
Yes.
The one who loves us more than anybody else. Mm-hmm. The architect, the designer of human life said, look, here is what you who I have created are to eat. All right?
Yes. And so he said to us, okay, after he declared that, then he made food for the animals, and then he said it's good. He declared it good. After he declared that it was good, he made man sometime later.
Okay.
So the designer decided what was to be eaten. He created to man to eat the food.
Okay.
He said it was all good. Mm-hmm. So food or friend or foe? We'll figure it out.
It's a mystery. So, we got to figure this one out, you all.
We'll figure it out. So as we go down the road, after he creates Adam, he then, in Genesis 2, instructs Adam what to eat, repeating the same thing, instructing him to eat the herb.
Amelia, isn't it amazing that everything that has been created by anybody usually comes with instructions?
Yes.
It
comes
why
with
not human life? I know oftentimes we don't think about it like that, but God, who created us, if I created the Mercedes-Benz or the Chevrolet or the Ford,
correct.
Come on, I give instructions on what to put, what kind of oil,
yes,
what kind of gas,
yes,
how this vehicle is to be taken care of.
Correct.
And we've got to go back now and rewire our thinking with this, that who created us, just like anybody who designs anything, manufactures anything, has instructions.
Yes.
This is why, people say we come from the monkey. Well, the monkey needs to give me the instruction.
Please tell me.
Tell me, monkey, frog, or whatever. Tell me the instructions as to how to take care of myself, because anything that's usually created, designed by any individual, comes with instructions.
Absolutely.
Come on, talk to us about it.
There are instructions. So he instructed Adam and Eve how to eat. Well, I asked the question, Well, then, if God created food, he created Adam and Eve. He told them what to eat. How did we get here? How did we get to this place where we're struggling with food? How do we get to the place where food is making us sick?
Wait a minute. Come on. Now, that's good.
Okay.
That's a good point.
He said it was good.
Uh-huh.
So when we go back to the same place, we look and we see Eve in the garden. Eve is there, and she goes and does her thing, and she wanders away from Adam, and she sees this beautiful tree in the middle that they've been told they can eat everything but that.
Okay.
So she goes there. You know the story. The story goes, she touches, she eats. But what's really interesting is when she touched and she ate, something happened immediately to her mind.
So wait a minute now. Food did something to her mind.
It happened to her mind. Immediately there was a change of mind. She, first of all, rationalized what God had said, but when she touched and she ate something, the scripture described her as she thought she felt something. She thought she had gained something in knowledge. Okay, in knowledge. And so she went on. She went on and she shared with Adam. And when Adam did the same thing, something changed in them. How do we know that? Something changed in their thinking, because instantly it says they knew that they were naked.
What? There it is. Oh, that's good. I
They
like that.
knew they were naked,
They
so
knew.
something changed in their thinking after they ate what they had been forbidden to eat. So is the problem our food, or is it our thinking? The issue, I believe, that the ground root issue of our health is not just our food, it's our mind. What is happening?
That.
Why do we eat what we eat? Why are we eating the certain foods that we eat? There's someone who sits and eats a whole apple pie. Why?
Why?
Why do we consume things that we know are injurious to our health? Why do we smoke things we know that damage our brain and our body?
So what's going on in the mind?
It's something in the mind.
Wow.
Okay? And when we look back, which we can talk at another time, when we look back and we can show scripturally each person through history that has had a struggle with food and what was going on with them. What was their thought process? What was the outcome of what they thought and what they did? And we can see that it truly is a connect between food and the mind. But in the end, the hope is this. God says that he came to give us victory.
Come on now.
He came to give us victory over every sin that besets us. It says that God is the one that is the healer of all of our diseases.
Yes.
And the diseases that came upon the Egyptians will not come upon us.
Will not come upon us.
And when we are obedient to follow after his commandments and his statutes to do them. So again, I say, is food our friend? Is it our foe? When we see Daniel is an example of one who made a decision in his mind. He chose to eat a certain way, and he was victorious. He was healthy.
Yes, he was healthy.
Strong.
Yes, he was.
So it was food. He chose what to eat according to what he knew the principles, the way he had eaten prior to his captivity.
Now I see why you took it to it's a mind thing. What's going on in the mind? Well, we've been conditioned in our culture. When you think baseball, you think what? Hot dogs? Come on now.
Movie theater, popcorn.
See, something that we've been conditioned to think something and think a particular food. And look, and the thing about it, we don't even think about the quality of what we're putting in.
Correct.
With that hot dog.
Yes.
We call it a hot dog, but wow, yeah, it's hot. For what it does to us. I like that. That's good stuff.
There are actually some foods that have actual physiological effects on us, like excuse me. We've always not Halloween, but at Valentine's Day, we give chocolate. What is that? Why do we do that? What is that about? Chocolate didn't come from the U.S. Chocolate is something that's known and created and held in esteem in Europe. We have chocolatiers, people who are famous for the types of chocolate and richness.
Yeah.
Whenever we promote chocolate, what do we promote in commercials? What do you see? There's a degree of sensuality.
Yes, there is.
Chocolate has an effect on that. When women have their menses, they crave chocolate. There's a chemical hormonal something that's going on with women during that time. And there's a sexual effect.
To the chocolate thing.
To chocolate. We know that dairy foods bring a sense of comfort, acceptance. Think about, you see a movie, a commercial, a woman's been rejected. What is her comfort? She turns to ice cream. Is always what they show.
Wow.
It's a milk base, cheese and milk. Well, it's believed that milk was the first food. A child was given milk, the mother's milk or another animal. That's unconditional love. When I cry, when someone's caring for me, what were they given? Milk. And so the connection
that's
between milk or dairy foods. The other thing we know is they talk about other foods that we eat. Like we say that grains, wheat, flour foods, we call those comfort foods. How does everybody feel when you smell a fresh, hot loaf of bread?
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Or a donut.
Yes, that yeasty, bready smell brings comfort. Every culture has bread. Think about it. It has flat bread, puffy bread, but almost every culture has bread. The scriptures allude to bread as life. We're told
sure
that
does.
Jesus is the bread of life.
That's right.
We're told in the Old Testament that during the time of trouble that the angel of God will provide your bread for the children of God, that your bread and your water will be sure.
Well,
those are the two things that are sure, bread and water.
Well, in the wilderness, the manna or the bread.
Absolutely. Bread. Okay, it's a comfort, it's security. Is there so certain foods have a connection. They actually have what we believe a connection to the mental and emotional state. Actual foods do, and classes of food.
So then to be strategic then, so I don't get had.
Okay.
As food being my foe, I need to have awareness of
what I am eating and why. Why I'm eating. People who are emotional.
Did y'all hear that now? She said we need to have an awareness of what and the why
I am eating.
Because usually then when we're eating this stuff, it's tied to some emotion.
Yes, very often it is.
Okay.
We talk about people who have emotional eating. People who, when they're in a certain state, they want to eat salty foods.
Yeah.
It's known that the snack salty deals with anger. It's believed the salt helps to deal with anger. If you look in corporate buildings, they're the first ones to have vending machines. Okay, they have snacks there. Snacks there, chips, crunchy snacks. They have all kinds, but there's always chips and crunchy because you think about an environment, a corporate environment, the stress levels that come.
Yes.
It allows crunchy things, salty things, allow to relieve some degree of anger and stress.
Wow. I mean, it sounds like food has a spiritual connection.
That's the other part. All food has spiritual connections. You look culturally, we look the Jewish culture. We know spiritually they were told how to eat. There were certain things they were supposed to eat that were related to spiritual times, like at the Feast of Tabernacles, or when they had Passover, they were supposed to eat certain
now
things.
you get into a heavy. This is nice. I love this. We don't have consciousness.
Yes.
And this is why we got to talk about it.
Yes.
Yeah, I want you to continue that because with the feast and the foods in those
there were
times
foods that had spiritual. All foods are dual.
Okay.
They have a spiritual component and they have a physical component.
I got to say that again. We got to say that again. All foods are dual.
They have a spiritual
component
and they have a physical component.
Wow.
And we see that culturally. The Muslims, they have Ramadan. It's connected to food. They have all the religious meaning, but food is a very big part. Remember, they fast all day up until the night.
That's
and
right.
then they eat. Okay? There are certain things they can eat. And the Jewish, they do the same thing, not only across the board with their diet, but there's a spiritual component to that, why they eat what they eat, because of the God that they serve.
Now, you can get some liberty and some freedoms from some things that you may have been experiencing just knowing that your food is dual, has a spiritual and an emotional or physical component to it.
Yes.
That affects, of course, your emotional state of things, too.
Correct.
You
There's been such things that when we eat certain foods, they stimulate our passions. The more, like people who eat beef or flesh, the bloodier it is,
okay,
the more aggressive it tends to make people. People who have become mass murderers, you look at their lifestyle, you look at what they eat. There's some of them, they have come to the point almost where they eat raw. They're willing to eat raw flesh. All of it's connected to the mind, how we eat our food. It's believed it causes the blood to be feverish, and causes more aggression in a person. We know that when we
I guess this is why people end up eating people.
Yes. When you look at people, we say children who have ADHD, sugar, we know stimulates.
Yes.
So it's a physical thing, but it causes an emotional and mental response.
My God, yeah.
Okay?
Wow.
Certain foods cause, think about this, when your stomach is upset, whatever the cause is, how much more irritable is your emotions?
Absolutely.
Your temper is shorter. So the connect between the food and the mind.
Well, there's what I teach a lot, and a lot of other people, yourself too, I'm sure, teaches that there is a gut-brain connection.
Correct.
What's going on?
And that's really popular today to talk about the gut and the brain.
What's going on in the stomach is going to affect the emotions. Oh, we got 2 minutes left. Wow.
Okay.
We're going to have to come back and talk about this further. Okay. So what's going on in the gut affects the brain, and what's going on in the brain affects the gut too. Because I don't like to eat. We don't like to eat when we are mentally disturbed.
Correct. We shouldn't eat when we're exhausted.
Yeah.
When we're really tired, it affects our digestion and vice versa. Trying to focus after you've eaten a heavy meal. We talk about itis.
Yes.
There's a physiological effect. There really is true. It's not race-related.
Sure.
It's physiologically related.
Wow.
Because when we eat, the body says, okay, priority is not the brain right now, but the gut. And so the blood flow, chemical changes occur in the brain. Blood flow decreases, and everything happens to run to the gut in order to do the labor of the gut.
Wow. Well, oh, my Lord, we got to stop there. I know you're being empowered and edutained as well. Oh, my God. How can people get in contact with you in 30 seconds?
In 30 seconds, you can reach me at info@inmygardenhealth.com. That is my email address.
Okay.
info@inmygardenhealth.com. Or you can reach me at 404-964-2805.
All right. You'll be able to reach Miss Amelia Narian.
Yeah.
Got it right that time, right? Nurse practitioner, holistic health provider, and speaker. And by the way, I do have a CD on my website entitled Mastering the Mother of All Diseases that touches on this brain-gut connection.
Awesome.
All right. Well, I got to go, good people. On behalf of my girlfriend and my guest, you guys have a great rest of the week, and we'll see you back next Monday right here on Vibrant Living. And don't forget, turn it up, turn it up, turn it up. Turn your life up to the next level. We'll see you next week.
We hope you're leaving feeling empowered. Thank you for listening to Vibrant Living with Dr. Ellison. If you would like to learn more about our host or purchase books, please visit his website at drcalvinellison.com. That's Dr. DOCTOR CalvinEllison.com. Be sure to come back next Monday at 6 p.m. for Vibrant Living on Atlanta's inspirational talk radio, Love 860. Bye for now.